Welcome, Irish fans, to this week's edition of the Jack Swarbrick Show. This week we focus on the Notre Dame women's basketball program that is again picked to win the ACC championship by both the Blue Ribbon panel and the league's head coaches for the fourth consecutive year. Muffet McGraw's squad has won both the ACC regular season and tournament titles in each of the school's first 4 seasons in the league. A repeat performance this season would set a new league record of 5 conference title sweeps in a row. Joining us on today's show will be sophomore guard Jackie Young, freshman center Mikayla Vaughn, and associate head coach and Notre Dame Ring of Honor inductee Niele Ivey. We are taping this show a little earlier in the day this week, meaning Sam Bush is tied up with football practice. I do not have Sam's musical talents, but I'll do my best to fill his shoes in the open and close of this week's show. And I guess, Jack, the first thing we should talk about is the first time we have taped your show in the new full-blown television studio of the Martin Media Center of the Crossroads Project. And as you look at this project, which on the outside looks finished, they're still finishing it on the inside, but you were a driving force behind this. Is it turning out the way you had envisioned and hoped?
Yeah, very much. You know, we conceived this as a project that would bring year-round use to this part of campus. The stadium is one way to describe it, but it's the real estate that the stadium sits on, and we have achieved that in a way that has really been dramatic and will continue to grow as these other spaces are finished out. But we are here today in the Martin Media Center, and it's a great example of that. It's about faith programming. It's about academic programming. It's about student projects. It's about the film, television, and theater program, and it'll support video boards and live production for athletics. So it's one small example. You can say the same thing about the spaces above us, which will be the homes for anthropology and psychology, the South building, which is all about music and sacred music, and of course all the student functions that'll be in Duncan Hall, from career services to a new student rec center.
It embodies, I think, a concept that everybody on campus understands, but a lot of fans, even some graduates, may not. I know it may still be there. I haven't been in your hallway the last few weeks, but you used to have a quote just outside your office from Jesse Harper that basically said, athletics will always be secondary to academics on this campus. And one of the reasons that the folks that run this place allow Notre Dame to compete at the highest levels of athletics is because of the support it provides for the academic side. If that support was not there, they really wouldn't embrace those kinds of athletic endeavors.
Well, they have to work together, and the reason to do that isn't tactical. It's that we view athletics as an academic, as an educational part of our mission. The lessons you learn playing basketball, like the young women we'll meet today, as Niele describes the influence the game has had on her life, that fits perfectly with our educational mission and with our faith mission as a university. So it's not so much that we have to be intentional about it. It is. It's that we have to make sure we're true to it and continue to make sure they work together hand in hand.
And by being true to it, I mean, and again, my scope of influence is often among the diehard fans who don't understand. This place will not compromise on the academic side of it to the point where it's not just staying eligible. It's being challenged in the classroom, excelling in the classroom. But by the same token, that doesn't lower the goal on the athletic fields or the athletic courts. The goal is always to win championships.
It is, and you know, it's up to us to figure out how to make it work. And it's not just that. It's certainly those two, but the third element of that is an expectation that our students who are athletes will engage in the university community, more than go to class and go to practice. That they'll be students at Notre Dame and experience some of the things other students do. And when in 2 out of 3 years you can have a varsity athlete be the student body president, when 3 years ago your valedictorian is a varsity athlete. Those are the things that sort of say, okay, you can do this. You can make this work, and we get a lot of great examples of that.
And that lays a foundation for life. I know I'm asked a lot. You've been here over 5 decades. I've been here for 4, but why am I still here? And one of the reasons is when those student athletes come back 20, 30, and 40 years down the road, not only do they end up being very successful? And I'm not just talking about monetarily successful. That's important, but may not be the most important thing. They go out and they make a difference in the communities where they live, and that's something that seems to be imbued in the DNA of anybody that goes through here. Not just athletes, but it includes athletes. And I'm not sure every place emphasizes that kind of development where they leave this place and go on not to be just successful, but to be impactful to their fellow human beings.
I hope so. I mean, it's certainly our goal. The university does it spectacularly well, and I hope we augment that and help to support it. And I see it in a lot of what our students who were athletes here are now doing. Some of them that are in pro sports are doing remarkable things to help the communities in which they're in, and some of them have gone into businesses or service organizations where they're also doing it. So this place has always had a culture of service that I hope all our students take with them when they leave.
And, of course, a culture of winning. And a few 100 feet to our west on this past Saturday, I think the greatest rivalry in college football took place again, and Notre Dame just dominated USC. And it's an important milestone in a program that is bouncing back, and you played a large role in this as well in conjunction with Coach Kelly and the staff, really doing one of the largest, if not the largest, retooling of the coaching staff since I've been here, and right now it's paying enormous dividends.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with where we are as we sit at this point in the season, and certainly, there are measurements throughout a year, and rivalry games are always one of those measuring sticks, because almost without regard to how the teams are coming into the game, and in this case both highly ranked coming into the game, you always know in a rivalry game the emotions will be high, the intensity will be great, and it's a good test of where you stand. And I thought we passed that test with flying colors. It was the perfect game in the sense that we played very well. I think made a positive impression on a lot of people, but left with things to work on. And this week is about trying to get better in those areas.
And of course, last year we did a couple of interviews on your show, one of which in particular got a lot of attention. And while everything around you was being burned down, you had a very calm demeanor. And you saw at that time things that needed to be fixed, but things that you were very confident would be fixed. Did you think that you would be able to fix them? And when the season's not over, I'm not saying that everybody's ready to go home. You have a gauntlet to finish the season. But did you envision this rapid a turnaround? Because I think a lot of folks in the country right now are, quite honestly, a little surprised.
Well, I thought we could fix the things that were not working. You never know when the sort of the competitive when that'll manifest itself competitively, in the outcome of contests. Just as in the year before, you couldn't have predicted the extent to which the problems would manifest themselves in the record, right? You might have had those same problems and had a season that was better than that. I was focused on what the problems were and focused on fixing them, and I was confident we could do that. There was nothing, and I've said this many times, there was nothing I looked at with Brian where we said, this is a problem we just can't fix. We can't find a solution to. How long it would take to find the solutions, how they'd fit together, when it would have the impact on the culture we were aiming for, we were going to have to find out. Shifting a culture is the hardest thing you do with any enterprise, and the greatest satisfaction I take sitting here today isn't the record, although I'm thrilled with it. It's the cultural change. We have delivered on the promise and the goal of changing the culture, and I think you see that every Saturday now.
Now, if we go back to the Shamrock Series game in Dallas, if you'll remember, in that game, Notre Dame didn't play very well in the first quarter. And I honestly thought, standing on the sideline down there, that one of the things that helped Notre Dame win that game was that giant scoreboard. Because when Notre Dame wasn't playing well, the things that went on in the scoreboard, just people seeing themselves on the scoreboard, kept the crowd's energy up and in a positive way. One of the most controversial aspects of Crossroads was, of course, the addition of the video board. Previously, for me, the most intense crowd I'd ever seen in the stadium was '88 Miami. For you, it might have been '77 USC, the green jersey game. You take those two games out of it, I cannot recall a crowd that was more into it, more intense, more loud, more energetic than the crowd for this USC game this past Saturday.
Yeah, it was a great crowd, great evening. Typical South Bend late October evening, warm, calm.
The kind that makes Notre Dame fans worry when USC's in town and it's L.A. weather.
Yeah, no, it was L.A. weather. It was perfect. So and that's when it sort of comes together in a sense, right? You remember well that when Michigan we played under the lights up there for the first night. It had that same sort of atmosphere, great night and all that energy, and that's the way it felt. Certainly for this USC game, and then the team's performance created the momentum that built on that. Yeah, I love the environment. I think the video board has done everything we wanted it to. It has helped tell the story of Notre Dame more effectively. It has helped keep the crowd engaged. I don't know whether the crowd noticed. We've even got a clock running now to tell you how long the breaks will be, so you can sort of monitor that. And frankly, and I think not given enough attention and credit is the video board is always an advantage for a home team. Within the rules of the game and how it's played and how video boards are used, you're able to show replays, show in-game action, show things that help you see what's going on.
And we can take it another step and be very forward about it. I mean, fans like to see coaches complain about calls that they think are bad, but nothing is more effective than showing 80,000 fans that a call was not made correctly. If you want that influence to heighten the focus of the officials, nothing does it better than that. And Notre Dame's been subjected to that for years and years, and now they have that same advantage.
And we follow the same rules everybody else does in terms of not beating that to death.
You don't show it over and over,
right.
but you show it.
You show it, and the fans are, it's the expectation because that's what happens to you when you're at home, and so we're able to provide a full experience.
You have often referred to the experience at Notre Dame Stadium and compared it to the Masters. That's a tough goal to shoot at, but you made it very clear there weren't going to be commercials, and a lot of people didn't believe you. There haven't been any. What kind of response are you getting now that we're now midway through year one of the video board, even from some of the folks that may have been skeptical to you and fearful about how it would be used?
The only people are always skeptical about whether you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You hope you build a track record which mitigates that. But frankly, the only criticism I've heard all year is that we do too much Notre Dame programming. People suggest that it's a 3-hour infomercial. But that's what we want to do. We want to find the right balance. We want to have good content, but we do want the people who come, because remember, so many people come here for one game a year. It's an annual pilgrimage or a one-time pilgrimage. That we do want to tell the story of Notre Dame. And I love what we're doing, whether it's the environmental spots or the mass schedule or the what would you fight for or the other things we do on that board, in addition to giving you real insights into who our players are. I especially like the sort of personality profiles we do during the game that let you see who's underneath that helmet.
Well, and you have always given the entire campus a view, a portion of the game, and I guess that gets back to the philosophy of this place that I think is carried out more than almost any other places. There's a few other places. The Dome, the other part of campus, is just as important. They have a role, they want a role, and I'm not sure it would work here if you didn't give them a role.
Well, I'm not interested in finding out, but yeah, that's right. And in a very direct way, the architecture of these renovations is designed to sort of orient towards and integrate the most powerful symbols of on this campus: the Hesburgh Library, the Basilica, and the main building. And the logo we chose for this year makes that point. It has the skyline of the campus superimposed over the relief of the stadium. And it's a way of saying, I think it's a great logo to celebrate the year, but it's a way of saying this serves as a foundation for the more important mission of the university, and I think this project is an incredibly important symbol nationally now. You know, for all the cynicism that surrounds college athletics, to be able to say, look, we not only believe that you can integrate athletics into a great university, but we're going to create an 800,000 square foot change to our stadium, which is a symbol of that and which does it every day. And people who visit are moved by what they see in the physical space, because it does send that message.
And I'm getting the same reaction. Ivan Mizell, I ran into him right outside the first day he was back on campus, the renowned football writer, and he was just staring at it saying, I can't believe how well this came out. So it's been a good project, and it's now time for me to get out of the seat, because we have 3 talented young ladies to sit up here and chat with you, and we'll get to our first special guest right after this.
We represent the greatest university in the world. Let's carry that pride tonight onto this field, and let's play for Notre Dame, and let's play for Our Lady. That's how we're playing today. I don't know what next week holds, or the week after, or 3 weeks down the road, but tonight, that's how we're playing this football game.
And caught beautifully. What a play! Touchdown, Notre Dame! The Irish find a way!
Our first guest on this week's edition of the Jack Swarbrick Show is one of the finest point guards ever to wear the Notre Dame uniform, Niele Ivey. She rejoined the Fighting Irish women's basketball program as a member of head coach Muffet McCraw's staff in May of 2007. Ivey is entering her 11th season at Notre Dame. Niele added the title of recruiting coordinator in 2012 and was promoted to associate coach in the summer of 2015. Ivey is the common link between all 7 of the school's Final 4 appearances, 5 as a coach, 2 as a player. The St. Louis native works closely with the development of Fighting Irish point guards while serving as the architect of the program's remarkable recruiting success. In addition, Ivey makes major contributions to game scouting, practice planning, and summer camp coordination. With the season fast approaching, we thank Niele for taking some time out of her hectic schedule to visit with us here on the Jack Swarbrick Show today.
Welcome. Great to have you.
Thank you.
You do it. You do it all. That was quite the introduction. Did you write that?
That was a great introduction.
You're going to be taking that with you and using it other places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Well, the season is almost upon us, and we'll talk about the changes that you'll be dealing with in a minute. But of course, one of the changes happened in the off season, and you're now working for a Hall of Fame coach. Do you have to carry the coat or anything? Are there special duties or responsibilities that come with this?
Not special duties, but it was. She's incredible.
It was fun to be with you in Springfield. Reflect on that evening for a moment.
Yeah, it was surreal. I mean, just watching her, she's so deserving of that award, and it was just for her family to be there. Her speech was just incredible, and just to have the honor and to be, one of the elite members of the Hall of Fame was just incredible to watch. And for me, I have so much respect for Coach McCraw. She's my mentor. She's not only my boss, but she's somebody that I really, really look up to. And to see her be at the pinnacle of her game, it was just so special to be a part of that.
It was a great evening. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but that's the shortest I've ever felt in my life. In that
Absolutely,
evening, surrounded by giants, it was. But it was a lot of fun. And then we came back here and had a celebration of a very different nature, a little more roast-like. What did you think of that one?
Oh, that was awesome. Usually, everyone comes back to support Coach McCraw. She does a great job with her former players. The relationship that she builds, we always talk about this, just not the 4 years, it's the 40 years. And to see everybody to come back to celebrate her here at Notre Dame with her family as well. And then the roast part was just funny, we could just poke a little fun at the way that she coaches, the way that her style that has changed. I think Sarah Leapcher did an incredible job of roasting Coach McCraw. She really hit it on the nail. But it was just nice to see everybody come back to show love for her. I think we all love Coach McGraw so much, and it was great to have a whole moment where everybody came back to the Notre Dame family and celebrated with her.
Yeah, it was a great evening. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun, punctuated by the Fighting Irish Band making a special appearance. Cheerleaders.
That was really special. It was just capped off. She loved. I mean, her favorite part of the tournament is when we, getting ready to go on the bus, and they make a tunnel for her, the band, and the support that they have, and that's her most favorite part of going to the tournament. So it was nice for her to share that moment with them.
Yeah, those are great moments. No one else at the hotel likes it. But
no one else likes it. But I found that a lot of colleges are trying to emulate that.
Is that right?
Yes, it's really funny. But that's the most special part of just hearing the fight song and having our band out there supporting us the way that they do.
That's great. We'll get to the Fighting Irish in the upcoming season in a moment. But we enter this season on the heels of some really interesting news on the men's side of basketball with the federal prosecutors and the FBI investigation into some elements of men's basketball and the AAU stuff that's part of that. To what extent is that same culture reflected in women's youth basketball today?
I mean, it's hard, to hear that happened to on the men's side, but usually on the women's side, I think that especially with Notre Dame and Coach McGraw, the way that she's, there's our values and our morals, like we approach the game in a different way, and I think on the AAU side, you do hear a lot of things that go on, and it's mostly the things that go on are more like with camps and things under the table type things. So it's not something that is it's not something that's common at all on the women's side. And I think here at Notre Dame and the way Coach McGraw is, it's we do things the right way. And so it was just really unfortunate to hear everything that went on the men's side, but it's not something that is obviously very common on the women's side, women's game.
Has it impacted the atmosphere out there at all as you're recruiting?
It's something that it's like rumblings. You hear about it. You kind of wonder what programs are going through and what's going on. But that's pretty much that's all we really know about. Just talk. In the open gym settings, we just kind of hear about it, and it's just something that it takes away from the game, especially when we're getting ready to start the season. So I think it's just something just more people just talking about it.
Yeah. You are widely known as someone who's very effective as a recruiter, representative of this university, talking to families and young people. How do you approach that? What makes you so good at that?
Well, I think I'm in a great position, and I'm very blessed to basically I walk in the shoes of the kids, the homes that I go into. So the things that I say is something that has happened to me. The opportunities that I've had, I've been very blessed, and so I feel like I'm very genuine when it comes to recruiting, and I think that they feed off of that. I'm a relationship person, but also the story that I tell, especially talking about Coach McGraw and what Notre Dame has done for me, it comes from a very genuine place, and I think that really connects with the youth and the kids that we recruit, and I think that's an advantage for us because I believe in this place so much. I believe in Coach McGraw in the way that I do because of what it's done for me and what she's done for me. Really completely has changed my life, and so when I share those moments and share those stories with the kids that we're recruiting, I think that it comes off very, very natural, very genuine for them.
Yeah, that certainly is genuine. In the introduction to this segment, I was alerted to something I didn't know, that you were the common link in all 7 Final Four appearances. How has the game changed over those 7 Final Four appearances? How is it different today than when you were playing?
I mean, the game is just every year. It's just the kids they're so much more talented. Bigger, stronger, faster. The way that we play is just a little bit different. When I was playing in '97, we were a 2-3 zone team. We didn't have the numbers. We had a great presence with Ruth Riley in the center. Had speed with myself in the guard position. And now we didn't press as much. But now I think the kids are just so much more athletic. I think they started younger. I really didn't start playing basketball until I was 4th, 5th grade. AAU was a lot different. They get more training more, so I think they're exposed at a younger age and are just getting physically a lot better. And so, the up tempo. I think we wanted to score in big numbers because it's Coach McGraw's philosophy to score a lot of points. Right. But I just think that the game is just a lot faster. The kids are more athletic. We have women in 19, 17-year-old girls that can dunk now. That was kind of unheard of back when I was playing, only Lisa Leslie, a small few women that were dunking, and now I just think their game has expanded.
You couldn't dunk?
I mean, I barely touched the net. I kind of left that. I stayed on the three-point arc. I stayed where I needed to be, and try to post feed to Ruth. But yeah, it's just the game has really evolved. I think that they're working on their craft a lot younger and getting exposed to a lot of great training and just playing more year-round.
Is there any argument to be made they're playing too much?
I think so. I think the kids are getting burned. They're very burned out in the summertime. Like AAU, it's taking on a world of its own. They're playing year-round, but also not playing double sports. And usually, Coach Regard, we always believe in playing a different sport just to just have a little break from basketball, have your muscles to react in a different way, and just have a different type of movement with a different sport. And I think now they're expected to play year-round. AAU is very taxing on their bodies. They're playing, almost in the entire summer. And so I definitely think that it's taken over, I would say.
Yeah, I had a coach of a well-known Division I men's coach say to me once that when an athlete signed a national letter of intent with his institution, his first rule was they couldn't play any more basketball.
Yes.
That's an odd thing to say, right? But he said their joints and are so overused, and as you say, there's burnout. So he wanted them to, whatever that period of time was from when they signed to when they showed up, he didn't want to play any basketball.
Right. And I know that probably high school coaches feel that way outside the summer because, like you're saying, like their bodies break down, and then they can't complete a whole high school season because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's shift to this year's version of the Fighting Irish, and unfortunately, we got to start with some injury.
I know.
Information, right? We knew the primary one, if you will, because it happened last year, and we've been tracking that recovery, but we got another one this week, so why don't you update us on what's going on with injuries?
Yes, unfortunately, with Brianna Turner, she said that she was going to sit out this year, and for myself, tearing both ACLs, I definitely understand the reasoning for her decision in that. So she's doing a really good job of recovering. Catherine Westbeld had surgery in the off season, and she's coming back, but also sometimes as far as the length of time, you don't really know until you're going through it. So doctors could predict 6 months. It could be a little bit longer. And then Michael Johnson coming back from her shoulder. And so, our whole senior class is just recovering from major surgery. So we're keeping Ann Marquez, our trainer, very, very busy. I'm always feeling very sorry for her when I see her because she's always, very busy. But, we're just praying for a healthy season. We understand and know that it comes with the game. So we're just praying that they can come back, 100%. And I think they're doing an incredible job in the weight room. In the training room, trying to get back on the floor. But it's something that, like you said, something we expected. And so I think that when someone goes down, somebody has to step up, bigger role for someone else. So I think that we have a lot of pieces that can help and step in and just, play a bigger role than maybe what was expected of them.
Yeah, as you point out, one of the unique consequences of this group of injuries is it hits upperclassmen.
Right.
It hits a lot of the leadership of the program. In Bree's case, we know she won't be back this year. So as you prepare for the season and those people are playing no role to a limited role, how does that change the approach?
I think you have to be tested, and I think it's just adversity hit us early, and so I think we do a really good job of preparing for that. The entire team did a really good job this summer. We have a fantastic strength and conditioning program, and I think that our junior class, they're ready to step up into that role. I think Jackie Young, she's ready to step up into that role, and so I think that when someone goes down, this team knows that somebody else is going to be able to step up for us, and I think that we're preparing them for that. And we understand and know, like, being part of the ACC, our non-conference, our schedule is really, really tough. We have a great RPI, so we expect to be ready. And I think that everybody on this team, we recruited in a way that they can all contribute, and so we're just preparing. We're excited to actually see, as a canvas, we're excited to see who's going to step up and how they're going to step up this year.
What about developing the leadership and sort of personality of this team?
Right. I think in our senior class, they have tried to lead on the sideline. I know that's a lot. It's harder to say because you're not out there physically. Right. But they go through. They're part of the Rosenthal Academy. Also here, our junior class, they participated that in the summertime. And our seniors, I think, have done a good job of trying to lead them on the side. But also with our juniors, just having the experience of just actually watching Lindsey Allen last year, seeing the leaders that came before them, I think they're doing a good job of stepping up, knowing that they have to be a little bit more vocal now that we're down with their senior class. So I think that they're doing a really good job of this year, knowing that with what we're going through.
What will we learn about this team in the first few games? What are you looking to see?
Well, we have so many new pieces. So we have a couple new walk-ons. We have a new point guard. We've been fortunate to have the same point guard for the last 8 years. And so adding the addition of Lily Thompson, she's a very experienced guard. She actually came off an ankle injury this past summer. I think we're expecting just basically to, put them in this position and they're going to be ready. But also we're open to seeing like who's really going to step up. We have to rely a lot on our sophomores and our juniors, and also Lily. We have some great pieces with our freshmen, and I think we're just basically on just sit back and see, who's gonna be that leader consistently with scoring, and also just see who's gonna step up in the next first couple games, and then we'll kind of play off of that.
Seems to me there's a lot of athleticism on this team.
There is. We have great athletic guards. Mikayla Vaughn, which you're going to speak to soon, she has made probably the biggest impact I've ever seen on a freshman, especially a post player, because they take a little bit of time to develop. But I think our motor is outstanding. We have some kids that work extremely hard. They're relentless in the gym. So the times that if we're practicing for 2 hours, they're in the gym before and staying after. And so I think that they're going to impress our new faces. Going to really impress our crowd and our fans.
You mentioned it earlier. We play in the toughest conference in the country. So many great teams. Is it the usual suspects this year, or who do you think is likely to emerge in the ACC this year?
I think the usual suspects. I think Duke and Florida State. I think they're going to be very, very special. Duke has a very experienced backcourt. I think they have a couple of new additions. But Florida State, they're very tough. Mikayla Thomas, I think she's one of the strongest forwards in our league, and also I think Louisville. I think they've always been really, really good. And then Asia Durr, one of their premier guards. She's one of the preseason's Player of the Year candidates. So I think those three, some teams that we expected to be good. And I think Virginia might surprise a lot of people. They played us really tough last year, had a tremendous year. And with some new pieces, and they had a couple. One of their better players have transferred, and so I think that's a team that people will soon be talking about. But as far as Florida State, Duke and Louisville are going to be the three that we normally have great rivalry with, and I think they're still going to be tough this year.
Well, and of course you guys don't make it any easier on yourself by finding it the toughest possible pre-conference schedule. What are some of the hallmark games on this year's pre-conference schedule?
Well, always UConn. We're going to be at Stores this year. We have Michigan State at home. I think that's going to be a big game for us. We also are going out to Oregon State. Oregon State is a very tough place to play. And Corvallis, Oregon, that they have a great crowd. So we're excited about going back out there. 2 years ago, that team was in the Final Four. Great coach staff, great coach team, and also DePaul. So we actually have DePaul at home. And DePaul, they do an incredible job. They always get up for us. As everyone, we're the Super Bowl every game that we play is like the Super Bowl for other teams. But we're expecting that to be a really good game. So we're excited. We're also in a Naples, Florida tournament in Naples and Thanksgiving, and so we could potentially see the South Carolina, so national champions from last year. So that'll be a really big test for us early.
Wow, what a great schedule. You've also announced, speaking of Notre Dame guards, that the next Ring of Honor inductee is a guard you know pretty well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so excited for Kayla McBride. I think she has made such a great impact and positively in this program. She came on campus and had just so much swag, so much confidence. She led us to 4 straight Final Four appearances, and she's just done so much for this program. She comes back a lot of time, plays with the girls, just kind of shows their competitiveness, but she's so well deserved. She's very humble and also doing a great job in the WNBA. Was a 3rd-round draft pick, so she's somebody that is deserving of that honor, and I'm just excited that we all could be here to celebrate her.
Yeah, I'm excited too. She was always such a great presence, and what I've loved about her is how connected she stays to the school and the program.
Right.
When we were down in San Antonio for the football game, she was on the sideline. It was great to see her, and I'll be thrilled to add her to the Ring of Honor because she's been such a great representative of this program.
Absolutely, she's a great advocate. completely, she developed her 4 years here. It was just tremendous to see the development that she had. She didn't come in highly ranked, and just to see where she ended was just, pretty spectacular. And she, which is somebody that opponents cannot stop. She just has a knack for scoring. She's just a dynamic guard. So
yeah, I think she had pretty good coaching too.
I think she had some great coaching as well.
As always, thanks for taking time to visit with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to spend a little time with a couple of the players and get their take on the upcoming season.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
He scores! The Irish win! Notre Dame wins!
Our next guests on the Jack Swarbrick Show are two players who will play key roles for Muffet McGraw's squad this year. The 2017-18 season could certainly witness the emergence of sophomore guard Jackie Young. The 6-footer out of Princeton, Indiana, averaged 7.3 points in 33 games last season. She was the first one off the bench. Young averaged 21.4 minutes during the season. An ACC All-Freshman team selection and two-time ACC Freshman of the Week honoree, Young tallied 11 games with double-digit points, including a career high of 20 points against Valparaiso on December 5th. Freshman center Mikayla Vaughn is from Philadelphia, where she transferred to Paul VI Catholic High School in Fairfax, Virginia, for her senior season, in which she led her squad to a #1 national team ranking. As co-captain, she led her squad to a 32-2 record in the 2017 VISAA Girls State Championship, averaging 14.6 points per game along the way. This season, Vaughn looks poised to be the Irish starting center, and we are honored to have both of these very talented players as our guests on this week's edition of the Jack Swarbrick Show.
Ladies, thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Who wins a 1-on-1 game?
Tie.
Oh, come on.
Is it?
Jackie wins, then whatever you want to hear.
Well, we're gonna have to stage this, I think, Coach. Right, Niele, give me the report on this after it happens. Well, you've been hard at work practicing. How's it going, Jackie?
Practice has been going good. We've been getting after it. I think everybody was looking forward to the season to start. I mean, we worked hard all season, and we had our first practice a couple weeks ago, and now we're just looking forward to our first game.
And from your perspective, has it been what you thought it'd be?
Yeah, it's really tough. It's really fast-paced, and I think we're getting after it. So hopefully all our work we're doing in the preseason will come to pass when we play next week.
And who do we open with? Who's the first? Who's the first opponent? Do we know?
Yeah, scrimmage against
Northwestern.
No, I meant exhibition against IUP, and then our first game on the 11th is against Mount St. Mary's.
Very good. All right. Now, obviously you spent a lot of time working with and against each other, but one of the unusual things about women's basketball is you also have a practice squad of guys that come in and help you out from time to time. Had you had that experience before coming here?
No, it's been a change. Probably one of the hardest things coming here. It's been playing against the guys, and they're really, really good, really strong, and they don't stop at all. They're going after us all the time. They want to beat us all the time, so it's really good, making us a lot better.
Jackie, what were you doing during the summer? Were you here for school?
Yes, I was here for summer school. We had workouts with Sweeney, like strength and conditioning workouts, and then we spent our whole summer in the gym and in the classroom, and that's what we did.
Was there any additional national team activity or tryouts or any things that you were engaged in during the period? No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. I just know the summer often has a lot of those opportunities.
Oh, wait. Oh, that was after summer school, I think. Yeah, actually, I tried out for the USA team. That was U23 team. I mean, I didn't make it, but it was a fun experience just getting to play against some of the best players in the country, and then just getting to go out to Colorado again, that was just fun to see that.
Yeah, that feel like it helps you take your game to a different level when you're in a camp like that.
Yeah, I think I saw my game starting to improve once I left there. I knew what I needed to work on, and whenever I got back to Princeton, that's what I did.
What are your memories from when you were a freshman?
I mean, it was a long year, but it was fun. I mean, in the beginning, like she said, it was just different playing against the boys, and they're very active and a lot stronger than us, so that was difficult. But I mean, as the season went on, it got better, and then I remember just being super nervous for our first game, and it was like that for, I mean, part of the season, just being nervous, running out in front of 10,000 fans every night, and so, I mean, that was part of it. But then, like, once we got to the ACC tournament, that was fun, and then we got to go out on the beach and enjoy that. And so, once the tournament started, I mean, that's what we had worked for all season. We ended up getting beat in the Elite Eight, but I mean, I thought we played well.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. Tale of two halves. Great first half and little different dynamic in the second half. But as you say, great season, and to win the conference regular season and tournament again last year is a real testament to the team. So one of the things Coach McGraw has said to me, Mikayla, several times is the remarkable growth you've shown in a short period of time. Is that what you perceive yourself as having achieved in the time here? Do you feel like you're getting a lot better?
I just feel like I'm getting better. I don't know if I'd say personally, I guess you're tougher on yourself. I don't know if I'd call it remarkable, but I think it's good to hear that from your coach who you're really trying to show you can do. So I'm excited for more growth.
What are the strengths of your game?
I think I'm pretty fast, especially for my height. So I think that gives me the opportunity to guard smaller players, and it could probably work to our advantage, and pretty vocal. And I think that I can do a lot for rebounding and boxing out, so hopefully that'll be one of my strengths this year for the team.
Yeah, well, you certainly are fast, having watched practice, and I think that will add a real dimension to our game. Impressions of other players during practice, and who do you think's really prepared for a big year?
I don't know. I think that we're working while we're here in the summer. We're all doing a lot of lifting and conditioning with Sweeney. She's got us in really great shape. So I think that we're all doing really, really well. And I think our juniors, Marina and Enrique, I've seen them do really, really well this summer and in practice so far. So I think they're probably poised to have really great years.
Brianna's not there to challenge you on the practice court, but is she doing some coaching with you?
Yeah, she was doing a lot to help me off the court. And I think one time she was telling me how to tip a ball into the basket, and when I finally did it, she was like, "Yeah!" Like she was excited. So I think it's really fun to see some of her game come out in me. So it's fun.
That's great. Jackie, what do you see your role being this year?
I mean, I think I'm gonna have to be more of a scorer this year and just do some of the things I did last year by guarding the best offensive player on the other team and getting rebounds and getting defensive stops and just making sure I'm more of a leader this year and making sure I can help the freshmen.
Now, both of you were among the most highly recruited players in the country, could have gone almost anywhere. I'm going to ask each of you to answer the same question, which is, why here?
I mean, I wanted to stay in Indiana. Notre Dame wasn't too far, and I mean, my family loves Notre Dame, but ultimately, I knew I'd get the best of both worlds. I'd get to play for Coach McGraw and her amazing coaching staff, and I'd also get one of the best degrees in the world.
Not from Indiana, so it's 12-hour drive from Philadelphia. I think I liked it. One, it was, like I said, not too close to home. Kind of felt like I'd actually be going away for school. Obviously, best of both worlds. Great coaching staff and Coach McGraw and all the coaches we have here, and winning culture. And also great academics. I mean, one of the best degrees you can really get, as well as the tradition of the school itself. It's been a lot of fun. So also the Catholic environment's really nice to have that. If you want to be involved, you can. You don't have to, but I think it's nice to know that you can be somewhere with people who are like-minded. So
I'm stunned that neither of you mentioned the visit with the AD, but that's okay. I mean, I'm just teasing. So Coach Ivey has talked about the conference and the challenging competition you always face in the conference. Jackie, are there venues, places you played last year that really stuck out for you as tough venues within the conference?
I mean, I really thought NC State was a tough place to play at. It was a small gym, and so it just made it extremely loud. You couldn't hear anything, and so it was more of like, it seemed like we're in a volleyball arena. It was so small, and the fans were just rowdy, so that was definitely a hard place to play in.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Welcome back to the Jack Swarbrick Show, where it's time to wrap things up. But I think a fitting end to this show will be to talk about not something that's happening this basketball season, but next basketball season, and that is the completion of the long-desired basketball practice facility for both the men's and women's programs.
I'm so thrilled that I won't get this question when I go out on public speaking engagements anymore. When are you going to take care of this? It is long overdue. I'm thrilled. You know, we developed a solution 5 years ago when we developed this plan, and it was one thing to know what the solution was, but it's you can't wait to get to it. And when the Student Rec Center opens in Duncan Hall at the start of second semester, we'll move into Rolfs and begin the construction. And early next season, we should be in a position to move the both programs into the building.
And it's critical. I mean, both coaches have done a tremendous job, and I'm one of those crazy people that actually kind of likes the pit. You can get down there in privacy and get a lot of work done, but you know better than anyone. Basketball, all sports have become an arms race, and Notre Dame was a little behind in terms of showing parents and players the shiny practice facility, and now you'll have that.
Yes and no. I mean, there's an arms race, no question. But I want to be really careful that when we engage in facility development, we do it with sort of the same approach the university does. I mean, the university wants to have the best dorms in the country. They want to have the best laboratories, the best classrooms. You don't do it because somebody else built something crazy. You do it because that's your commitment to the student, and it's consistent with your philosophy as a university, and that's where that fits in. I mean, we build these spaces to accommodate the best interest of the students, and in this case it's nutrition centers and study areas and all the things that help them be successful here. You know, we're not doing waterfalls and a bunch of recreational stuff. It's designed to support the students, and in light of the new time management legislation of the NCAA, it becomes all the more important to have these spaces so that sports can get into them when they need to and get out of them when they're done, so we can manage the time of our student athletes effectively and consistent with the new rules.
And I looked at the blueprints today before we did this show. It's very functional. It's very effective. It is equal, absolutely equal between the men's and women's programs. It's not opulent. The head coaches don't have giant offices, but they have offices fitting of their position and their needs when they recruit and run the programs.
Yeah, it was funny when we first settled on this as a path forward, and someone told me how many square feet there were. I said, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with that many square feet for two programs? Well, it turns out when we tried to allocate all of the things we needed to do, it was we're using every square inch of it.
Also, the NCAA getting a lot of heat nowadays, but they did allow basketball programs to play an extra game to raise money for hurricane relief, and the men's program just did that the night before the USC game, and it was a very successful night in every possible way.
Loved everything about it. I love that we played our neighbor. We got special permission to play them in the exhibition. I thought it was great for the community, a lot of community presence. I love that we found a way to engage in this that was consistent with helping an ACE program who had been hit, an ACE school that had been hit so hard by the hurricanes. And so it just all worked in a Notre Dame sort of way. And in addition, it was really fun. It was great for our guys to be able to get out there and play against somebody else. There was a little nervousness, a little jitters at the very start, but then they really found their groove. And I think you saw some of the things that are going to define the team this year. I thought they were very active defensively. And, of course, they share the ball so well.
Starting to run out of time, but as we talk about winter sports that are beginning, another one, hockey, is well into its season, and they're in the top 10 in the country.
Yeah, when you go to a Frozen Four, you start with a good ranking coming into the next year, and they did. And they're playing well. I've seen them play 3 times now, and you can see them sort of finding themselves and working with different combinations and working both goalies, and it's a typical Jeff Jackson team. They play the game so well, and looking forward to another good year. But there's a lot of growth that will happen in that program.
Jack, it's always a pleasure to be with you on your show, and we look forward to more interesting shows coming up.
Great having you back, and I can't believe the Bush gets in the game and he misses the show.
Well, he's too big for the show now. So you'll just have to settle for me. I think he'll be back next week. We'll see.
I'm sure he will, and go Irish.